1899 is the latest Netflix original show from the creators of Dark. Dark is the best show Netflix has ever produced and arguably one of, if not my favorite TV show of all time. And I'm not just saying that because I was on a commercial for season 3 of Dark. But honestly, because it is one of the best shows I've ever seen, and the creators have not lost a step when it comes to 1899, because 1899 takes us into even deeper mystery and challenges our perception of what's real and what's not. While Dark may have focused on time, 1899 focuses on reality, another fabric of creation, another fabric of our universe. And what is reality? Now in this video we can approach 1899 in two different perspectives: the character story and the journey of the characters, or we can focus on the aspect of reality and the mystery surrounding the Prometheus, as well as the shared reality. But without further ado, major spoilers ahead, so if you have not seen 1899, go check it out, because from this moment on we're diving deep into the story and the mystery of 1899. Now, 1899 is the visual representation of Plato's Allegory of the Cave, and they even reference that throughout the series. So if you guys aren't familiar with Plato's Allegory of the Cave, I'm going to give a brief rundown. And what Plato's Allegory is, it's a thought experiment. What happens if you take a group of people and you chain them against the wall with a fire behind them, but they can't turn their heads? All they can see is what's on the wall. And on the wall, they see shadows of whatever is bouncing off the wall, whatever light is bouncing from behind them into the cave, showing shadows. So their reality is what they see. The shadows are what's real. And as we know, shadows can be delusional. Shadows can look like something and it's not really. So we know the shadows themselves are a false sense of reality. But for the people in the cave, all they know are the shadows. The shadow on the wall is their reality. Whatever shape that is, it's real. Whatever they're seeing, it's real. That's their perception. So in essence, reality is perception. It doesn't matter what's happening behind them. They can't see it and they can't perceive it, so it's not real. That's just a basic rudimentary explanation of Plato's allegory. But essentially, you can see this in other types of movies and TV shows as well. I don't know if you guys seen The Truman Show or The Matrix or even Jordan Peele's Us, which deals with another form of reality, something greater that we're plugged into, kind of like a mass illusion, a mass system like the Matrix, a shared fake digital reality as opposed to the actual reality we live. Because what makes reality? Is it what we can feel? Is it what we can touch, smell, taste? Or is reality what our brains perceive? If you jack your brain into a virtual reality and that's your entire life, you live and die in that virtual reality, is that not reality as well? And that's one of the questions that people have been asking, philosophers have been asking for thousands of years. And 1899 takes a stab at looking at the perspective of what is reality, what makes it true. And ultimately, is it better to live in a false reality where you're happy, or is it better to live in this cold, harsh reality and face things the way that they are? And that's where some of the more interesting characters of the show come about, because a lot of characters are on this ship escaping a past and they're looking to America for a future. Let's look at the case of Lucien and Jerome. Lucien and Jerome were nobodies who were part of a French army, and Lucien decided that he wants to go beyond that. He wants to be more than just a foot soldier. So he's going to steal a dead corporal's body and assume his identity and therefore give himself a new life with riches, a new reality that he never perceived, while Jerome was against this. And essentially Lucien backstabs his friend and goes off to live in this false reality. However, when he gets there, he realizes it's not as glamorous, and now he has a debilitating disease, and he wants to go to America again to reset his reality and find a new story. Jerome follows him onto the ship in order to exact his revenge because his life has been stolen from him, and all he knows is that. But not just those characters. Ying Li's whole thing about running away from her past, taking her friend's identity, creating a whole new reality for her. And we're starting to see a pattern here with characters leaving their past behind and trying to create new stories for themselves, giving themselves new identities and moving to America to create a new life. And that is the crux of the character journey of all these characters, whether it's Tove and her brother and the situation that happened with her and the child she's carrying, that false illusion that her mother has, or most importantly with the main characters of Mora, Daniel, and the boy, aka Elliot. What we've been led to believe throughout the first season is that all of this is a construct created by Mara in order to save her son Elliot. Because in their real reality, for some reason, Elliot is dying, and the only way to preserve his life is to upload him onto this virtual reality that they're all living. However, Mara doesn't remember any of this, and it's Daniel that's feeding her this information, her husband, telling her this, in a sense, forming her reality. What if what everything Daniel was saying is a lie, and now he's created a false sense of reality, a different expectation of what everything is? That really is the crux of the show. We don't know what to believe at one point. Who's telling the truth? Who's a liar? Is Mara's father lying? Is Daniel lying? Is Mara lying? And ultimately we find out her brother is the mastermind behind all of this, and they are all on the ship, the Prometheus. Because that ending itself blew my mind. Not only are they not in 1899, they're in the future on a spaceship, and they're in a shared space, a shared consciousness. And even in that shared consciousness, even when we go back and we see Mara on the ship and we see the other passengers, the way they're strapped in, the way their heads are facing essentially a cyclical wall, they're all living in Plato's allegory. You see how they tied the whole Plato's allegory, why they give us the physical and visual representation of them being inside of the illusion. They also show their bodies are trapped and stagnated in one position, focused on that reality. It's really hitting hard on the nose, but at the same time this is happening, we find out they're also on a ship called the Prometheus in space. And Prometheus was the name of a demigod in ancient Greek mythology. Prometheus stole fire from the gods to bring to man. Essentially, Prometheus is the wandering man, the imagination of humanity. We are looking for what is real and what isn't. Essentially, as we dive deep into what makes reality, as we explore things like Plato's allegory, and we also try to put our own senses behind it, we are in essence Prometheus. We're trying to find out the truth about God and bring it to our fellow man. In the series 1899, Mara's character also challenges the belief of what is reality. Are we living in reality, or is this world created by God? But if God created this reality, what about the reality that God lives in? Who created that? That is another theory in itself, the theory of infinite regress. Something comes from everything. So if there is a God, who created God and who created that God? And we regress back infinitely, hence the name infinite regress. All these are things that this show is exploring. And at the end, ultimately, no answers were solved, because while the mystery of what's happening on the Prometheus and all these ships, as every new mystery is unraveled throughout the series, a new question arises. And ultimately, I'm left wondering at the end, is what we're seeing actually happening? What if this is all a dream? Because all the characters throughout the season, in every episode, a main character wakes up from a dream, being told by Mara to wake up. They're all living in some repressed memory they're escaping, and Mara is the one waking them up. Her voice is the ever-looming voice of God, and she is the doctor that is the mental health professional. So what is real? What isn't? Are we being lied to as the audience? I've watched 1899 twice now, and I'm left with more questions the more I did. Because as you go through the season and you watch it again, you start to pick up on hints and clues. Who's lying? Who's telling the truth? Are we actually seeing what we're seeing? Are they even on a ship? What if this is all a dream by Mara and she's just home writing a book? All these are possibilities, because ultimately, what is real, what isn't? Reality is our perception. This video is an explanation to 1899, but that's just my reality. That's my perception. What's your perception? What do you think the ending is? I'd love to hear your thoughts about this in the comment section below, because we can all experience the same thing. Because our experiences make us who we are and form the way we calculate and think about things, you may have a completely different idea of what's happening. My theory is none of this is real, and this is ultimately a dream of one of the characters. But what is yours? I'd love to hear in the comment section below. And if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and until next time, binge on.